Dynasty Talk today on SB Fantasy Football. And welcome to the SB Fantasy Football Podcast, where we try hard.
Yeah.
I'm Alan.
I'm Rapid Dave.
And today we're talking Dynasty Fantasy Football.
Just a quick little
just
chat.
A little. You know, I've finally drug you into the realm of Dynasty leagues.
It's so dumb.
After a few years. And I might be getting you in another, two, right? You're going to be possibly three.
Possibly three. I went from no Dynasty leagues to possibly 3 leagues.
In one season.
In an off season.
Yeah. Now, one of the ones we're joining is a brand new We're just jumping in.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's new.
Right.
One of the leagues that you jumped into was a league that I got into last year, where you're taking over a team and you're having to revamp it. And of course, it's a bad team because there's a reason why these people aren't in the league anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which makes me feel good about joining the league because it's like, hey, if you got someone who isn't doing what they're supposed to be doing, they're going to ship them out.
I do like that because there's
like
nothing worse than a team that's been abandoned, even like redraft or any league for that matter. A team or a person who's completely neglected their duties as a manager,
right?
And it compromises the integrity of the entire league.
Just everything.
Yeah.
So what kept you away from Dynasty leagues for so long?
I don't get them. I don't have the time either. Like I've done so many redraft leagues. Redraft is so easy for me, and it makes draft day so special. Like I just
draft day is a special thing.
And I just kind of stayed away from them. And I, not trying to say that I've mastered redrafts. It's time to get into Dynasty, but I've gotten okay at it, and then I'm like, oh, well, I guess we could try something else. I've done the knockout leagues that I do every year as well, which is really fun. I
want to get in on that this year.
It's pretty fun.
It's with Beard Laws, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
But Dynasty now, it's like, I'm taking over a team. I'm going to start another team, take over another team. So I got 3 that I'm looking at right now. But yeah, it takes a lot of work, and I just didn't want to. I already put a lot of effort into it. And plus the rules, I don't get the rules. I'm like, apparently, like I don't even get a first round pick this year because the guy traded the effing stuff away. I don't know.
I don't have a first round pick either.
Yeah.
So
I'm like, okay, so what am I doing here? Like, why can't I get a little bit of help to get jump started? But I think I've done pretty well in the what's it called? The recent, not trades, but I've been acquiring some players.
Yeah, free agency.
I don't know why I couldn't think of that.
And that's the cool thing. So like, there's different types of dynasties, right? Like with ours, you're strictly drafting rookies. Like this in this league, all you draft is rookies.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else, like you have a salary cap and you have to make your cuts to get under it. And then everyone's released in the free agency. Then you have your free agency period with a bidding period going on, which is where we're at right now, going through that. You got trades going on, getting ready for the draft. But then I'm also in another dynasty league I'm in where you have your salary cap and then you release players, but then you redraft those players. Those players are then redrafted. Whoever's released goes into a draft pool.
It was kind of annoying, I think, with the free agency thing as far as bidding, because you had to pay attention. There's a lot of manual work in this league. So you have to sit there and pay it. Like if you're bidding on someone, you have to scroll back to see what the last bid was, and even if that was a valid bid, and keep going down. You know what I mean? So there was a little bit of extra. I feel like there could be some enhancements made either on the site or the what's it called? We're on CBS Sports, which I'm not a big fan of anyways, because I've done Yahoo most of my
that's
fantasy.
where I started was Yahoo.
I don't like ESPN at all.
I don't like their interface.
Sleeper seems cool. Sleeper works okay.
I've only done mock drafts on Sleeper. That's all I've done on Sleeper is just mock drafts. I haven't done anything else.
They make it real easy as well.
Oh yeah, and you can get through a draft in 15 minutes.
Along with Fantasy Pros, they have a lot of great tools in mock drafts and things like that. So, but yeah, no, just getting into it, it's a bit overwhelming. Where you have to understand the rules. You have to figure out the rules for each of these leagues. Because they're not going to be like standard rules. It doesn't seem like it at this point. As far as acquiring players, I'm in 3. Yeah. Now we're going to be in 3 leagues,
scoring
3 different ways
all that. Yep.
Of acquiring these players and things like that. One of the leagues is like, oh, it's a startup. I'm like, okay, why not? I'll be the first owner of the team. Be excited about it. I can build the franchise the way I want. But who's in the league? It's like you might know some of these people, you might not. Now, listen, there's horror stories out there of people in like Facebook groups and stuff like that where they're like, hey, I just want to get in the league. And this one guy wants to run. Oh, I'll do one. And he ends up running like 5 or 6 leagues and just like keeping the payouts. You know what I mean? So you definitely want to know who you're playing with to a certain
Right.
amount. And also there's League Safe, or is it Safe League or League? I think it's League Safe. And that's a place where that's where your money
The
goes
money
into, and
goes
it's
into
paid
that,
out.
and that pays it out. You set the parameters for the payout
Yeah.
and all that.
Which
So
I've done that. I've played in like a couple random leagues, and League Safe paid out to me perfectly fine. I was like, okay, this is, and it's nice. You can do some low dollar amounts, 5, 10, 15, $20, and it's fine. But yeah, I think anything over a certain, say you're in the $40-$50 range, me taking a word of some stranger who's got to pay a car bill or something, a car note, it's like, Jesus, But I'm looking forward to it. There is some things you want to know before you get into a dynasty league. You want to know how many teams, if you're taking over a team, you're starting afresh, what's the rules? And like you said, with scoring, I mean, how many different scoring rules have you came across in like the couple leagues that you're in?
I mean, they're all different. Like, and that's the thing. And like with these two dynasty leagues that I'm in, the third one we don't know about because nothing's. We're just literally just starting it, or we're not starting, but we have a buddy starting it. But the scoring is different because they do these scoring as low scoring, and so it's very
Is that like norm?
Touchdown dependent. No, because I mean you're going to have some games where it's like 30 to 40.
Well, that's what I'm saying for like dynasty. Is that kind of the norm?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Because these are the first dynasty leagues I've ever done.
Yeah, so
like
follow us for the journey.
We've got a league with some buddies that we've done for years, but we only have one keeper. It's more of a keeper league, and then everyone else is redraft, and you keep one player a season. So it's not really that.
It took us a couple of years to even start that.
It did.
It
did.
Because we were like, we didn't want to give it. Nobody wanted to give up their player that year. Right. It's like, anybody down for a keeper league? Like one. Like I think we even tried to make it like 2 at one point, but yeah, I like redraft leagues. I always have. It's a fresh start. Now, hey, sometimes you might not get the pick you're looking for. You might not get the first round pick that you want, but you make do with what and waiver wire, that comes into play.
Right.
And now you're telling me with these dynasty leagues that we're in, it's like, no, as soon as the Monday night's game's over, buddy,
well, that's one of them.
Yeah.
Where it's just, but then the other one, it's a bidding process.
You still got to go bid
it, and you got to go bid, but there's advantages going out there and placing the first bid, because if you place the first bid, you have the option to close that. It's only a 24-hour period during the season from the time of the first bid. And then if you place the first bid, you have an option to close it for X number of dollars over the max bid that's currently out there. So there's definitely been some different things. But the thing I like about the Dynasty is it keeps you involved the entire season. Because in both the Dynasty that we're in, even if your season's going awful, you're still playing for a higher pick. Like, just because you have the worst record does not mean you're going to get the number 1 pick. Like you can get like at the lowest, like the 4th pick, right? But if you want to try and get that first pick, you got to try and win those late season games, like in the playoffs, because you have a poll playoff system while the regular playoffs are going on for the draft picks. So it keeps you involved the entire year, but then you're also like going through and looking and like, okay, some people are trying to set their teams up to finish out the year and trying to get a player. And you're like, okay, well, I'm trying to set myself up for the future. Maybe I can get some draft picks. Maybe I can get some younger players, So there's a lot.
Yeah, we were talking about it off air and just, hanging out. We were hanging out at Maverick Harley today. And it was like, okay, I like the fact that the money, a lot of these leagues that if you join a dynasty league or something like that, half the money, say a fresh one, right? Well, probably the winner of this fresh league is probably going to get half the pot, because the other half pot's going to be put to next year for the continued commitment and dedication. Right. And then also, like you said, you're playing towards the end for these draft picks or a higher draft position to avoid teams just giving up and just tanking for no reason,
or just getting rid of all their players.
You're dumping them,
right?
Yeah,
I'm just gonna drop all my players.
I think if you're doing that and you're auto dumping or what, you should just be banned from.
Oh yeah, anyways. Definitely.
Like, you're not welcome back here. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and I've only really ran into that in like Yahoo public leagues. Like I'll always join a few Yahoo public leagues just to work on draft. Right.
A lot of them put the lock on them. They can't even drop like good players. At
certain players, yeah. There's definitely that can't cut list, but. Yeah,
but so out of playing, you played Dynasty now.
I've got one that I've done for 3 years now.
Yeah, and you're a redraft guy. So which one do you prefer, actually?
I don't think that I mean, right now it's still a redraft, but I think getting into these other dynasty leagues, I could see that kind of taking precedent. Like,
Yeah.
I'm enjoying like this new one that I'm in. I'm really enjoying like the free agency period and
It was chaotic.
only drafting, rookies. Like, that's all you draft. Yeah, there's a 3-round draft of just straight rookies. So I'm looking forward to that, and it's just kind of how the season goes. Last year was my first season in it, and I missed all that. I took that team over after free agency, after the draft. It was like a couple weeks before the season started before I even got my team. So
I do like the notion that, like, not going back in and drafting all the free agents or whatever. I think, everything's just left out there. You pick up who you're going to pick up, and then you just draft the rookies and you move on. New season. You know what I mean? If you need free agents, you go get it. You need to make trades, you make trades. Now I don't think I'll ever trade picks because I'm not going to. I don't know. I don't have any picks to trade. And even if I
right
keep
now,
going,
but you have them going forward.
when I get them
right?
going forward, I think I'm just going to hold on to them. I think it shows like how kind of important, the trade or the picks can be.
But it depends. Like, say you're
There's always
right
a
there,
move.
right?
Mhm.
And you're a running back away or a wide receiver away. Someone's like, "Hey, I got this guy just sitting here. I'll get. I'm not winning anything this year. Give me your first round pick, and he's yours."
Yeah. I
And
think
you might
trading
be like,
for
you know
picks,
what? Okay.
And there's several trade analyzers out there. You can do it for Dynasty. You can do it for redraft. You can do it for just whatever, the midseason, PPR, half PPR, things like that. So definitely, if you're questioning it or thinking about the trade, you can get some analytical advice on it from the pros. I think Fantasy Pros has it. Fantasy footballers have it as well. So there's sources out there other than some rando dude in a Facebook group telling you
Steve,
and that he hates, a certain team, so he would never make that trade, or whatever. He'll never take like a crazy biased opinion. But anyway,
why would you take a Bears player? They suck.
God, but
just science.
I am looking forward to this year. I'm looking forward to getting my feet just a little bit more into the fantasy world. I've never done, like I said, never done Dynasty before, and I'm actually interested in all 3 leagues because then I'll get a taste of how 3 different leagues are going to work. Because there's no way that Dylan's league is going to be the same as any of the other 2.
Yeah.
So I'll have a way. It sucks because now I got to figure out the 3 different ways that how I got to do something, but it's going to help me out in the long run. Because then, when I start moving around or try another league or whatever, I'll have more experience with it. But redraft's always going to have my heart, I think. But if I'm like the manager of this team, I've had this team forever, baby, and then I'm going to start.
You see yourself get a little bit more involved in it. You pay attention a little bit more off-season stuff.
Probably start doing press conferences and stuff.
I mean,
and things like
why
that.
not?
Yeah. Baby, like every week, buddy, after every game, I might have to get one of those little mini podiums, and I'll have the thing set up right here, and I'll just come in. All right, I'm here for questions.
Yeah. Oh man, that'd be awesome.
Not sure why I played. No, I don't know. I'll make up stories. I'll make up this and that. And, yeah, absolutely.
Let's have some fun.
Yeah,
let's have some fun. But are you guys in any dynasty leagues? Tell us some of the things you like about your dynasty leagues. What don't you like about it? Shoot us a message. Let us know. Drop a comment. Drop a follow. Drop a review. You're dropping something.
Yeah.
Just don't drop the soap. As always, I'm Alan.
Rapid Dave.
We'll talk to you guys later. Deuces.
Keep that soap firmly in your hand. The rope works out really well too. You got the rope on the soap.
Pull it right
soap
back
on
up.
the rope. Yeah.
Thank you for listening to SB Fantasy Football Podcast.